All right, 10 a.m. So let's get started. Today, we are going to talk about symptoms of a looming illness. Our body speaks to us and we need to be able to hear it. So I'm going to go over that. And food addiction, and are we a slave to food? Yes, Karen said yesterday was National Cat Day. Yes, I posted a mug that I ordered. It's got Elvis and my cat with wings that passed, and I posted that yesterday for National Cat Day. Snowing in Colorado as well, Trish. So go ahead, friends, and let me know where you're tuning in from so I know my audience, where we have people chiming in from. We're going to take a couple minutes, just talk about a couple things before I get into the formal teaching today. I don't recall if I've even said in the last 2 days about how our body starts to heal in only 3 days of eating for cellular nutrition. And that is what makes the difference with cellular nutrition. And here's where there's confusion. A few ways. One bite of the wrong thing throws you off for 3 days. That doesn't mean a whole meal is a bunch of bites that throw you off for many, many days. That means that meal puts you in a tailspin for 3 days. Your T cells, your B cells are going to be busy going to focus on wherever your health issues are. If it's gut health, if it's pancreas, if it's kidney, if it's liver, your T cells and B cells are going to be running there to help you handle and manage the bad food that you ate. Whether it's one little bite, one little Oreo, like those little mini Oreos, oh, they're so harmless. They can throw you off, put you in a nutritional deficiency tailspin for 3 days. And so this is why most programs will fail you. Because if they're not educating you on food and cellular nutrition, then you're going to think you can splurge. And, my question with splurging is always, who are you fooling? Who are you kidding? Right? And another thing, if you get the addictive foods out of your body, you're not going to want to splurge. You're going to replace your splurges with healthful desserts, healthful things that are only going to heal your body. So I just wanted to touch on that. So that's what is so miraculous. That is why people that come to work with me see results in the first week, because our body starts to heal itself in 3 days. Our cells all of a sudden go, yep, I'm digging this. I know what to do with this food. And they start running around doing it. And your body starts healing. It's really, really crazy how our bodies were designed. And good morning, Michigan. I know Nadine's in California. Karen's in California. I know Susie, Trish are logging in from Colorado. I can't really see everything anymore. I think Chrissy's coming in from Florida. Love your blue grapes, Laura. That was so funny that Carrie posted that. So now we're all calling blueberries blue grapes. So, hey, my granddaughter used to call cauliflower powder broccoli. So she was about 4 years old, and I had her for the weekend, and she always wanted vegetables for breakfast. And so we're in the kitchen, and she says, I want powder broccoli for breakfast. I was like, powder broccoli? I was like, I don't know what you mean. And we went to the refrigerator, and she pointed to the cauliflower, powder broccoli. So it's kind of cute, the different things that kids will say and come up with. And just even touching on that, I'm going to do another summit where it's going to be like a, feeding our kids better summit. But we learn our habits, our health habits at home. And so we are giving our children and our grandchildren, when they come to our house, we are giving them habits that are their warm, fuzzy foods, because who doesn't love grandma's soup or mom's meatloaf, right? We like that recipe, and that's what we grow up with. And in doing this, if we might think, I already started drafting this morning, so it's fresh on my brain, But we think we're doing something special and fun for our grandkids when we give them boxed cereal or a candy bar. And, you know, I'm not saying don't ever treat your grandkids, but what if you started baking them healthy desserts and that became their warm fuzzy? That became their foods, their habitual foods they're going to grow up with and make better choices. So I'm going to actually put together a summit. I don't know when it's going to happen, probably after the holidays, unless I can squeeze it in December for 3 days. But we are going to focus on kids and what we're doing to our kids being uneducated about food and thinking it's okay and it's funny if they're sugar addicts. That's what I really was writing this morning, was what the sugar does to a child's brain. Holds back their learning, all kinds of things. So it does matter. And I'm sure my grandkids are glad that they have other grandmas, because this grandma doesn't send them garbage anymore. I used to, I don't anymore. And they get it elsewhere, and I know that. That's okay. But they're not going to get it from me. So, all right, let's start talking about symptoms of a looming illness. And so signs your body is failing you. That's what a looming illness. Your body is struggling. Your body's screaming at you. A lot of times we can't hear it because of inflammation. If you were here Monday when I talked about my husband, when he started eating with me and all of a sudden his entire body didn't hurt anymore. He had pain in the center of his back, right behind his heart, and we found a heart condition. He couldn't even hear his body screaming because he hurt everywhere before that. So that's what happens when we start eating better. We lose pain. We don't have to hurt. If you're sitting there with arthritis, you don't have to hurt. You might be shaking your head right now, but I promise you, I've got arthritis so bad, you can hear my body crunch when I work out. I used to have to use both hands to lift my leg to put my pants on, and I don't hurt. We don't have to hurt. And even rheumatoid arthritis. I have clients that are off rheumatoid arthritis meds. So, you know, if you wanted to throw that zinger at me, but Marcy, it's rheumatoid arthritis, it's autoimmune. Autoimmune diseases are caused by our nutrition. Most autoimmune diseases can be reversed. Most, like 99% of them. So we don't have to have all these health issues that we have. But back to being able to listen to your body. So if you're the frog in the water, you hurt all the time, your gut hurts all the time, and your gut hurting is screaming at you, is saying, fix me before you get an autoimmune disease, before you get leaky gut, before you get celiac, before you get SIBO, before you get whatever. And gut also turns into other things besides just gut diagnosis. So everyone that comes to me that has a diagnosis, I know that they have dysbiosis in their gut. That is a fact. So we work on fixing your gut, healing your cells, defeating inflammation. You're no longer the frog in the water. You can hear your body talk to you, and then you can get on it and you can work with it, right? So signs your body is failing you: gaining weight with no dietary changes, or plateauing, unable to lose weight, and even losing weight without changing things is a sign. So not sleeping well, that is a sign your body's screaming at you. Catching every cold you're exposed to. Your immune system is low. We can fix that. Loss of hair or thinning hair in women. That is lack of nutrients, lack of vitamins. So depending how bad that gets, if it gets to the point where it's alopecia, we may not be able to fix it. But if it's just the beginning of thinning, we can possibly fix it, okay? Lack of energy, nutrition. Food should fuel you. After you eat, you should have a lot of energy. You shouldn't want to go lay down and take a nap. And I equate that to like the Thanksgiving dinner, right? We eat so much. This was just my childhood growing up. My grandparents had a big house, couches, lots of couches in this long family room that my grandfather built that had a fireplace at the end of it, kind of like mine, but the whole wall was brick. But anyway, so we would eat till we were so full, and then we would all go lay on couches, all of us little grandkids, crash out, and then we would go eat more because grandma and grandpa, my grandparents were restaurateurs, and so they always put out a big spread, including a big spread of desserts and everything. So I equate that when you eat and you're tired after, that's your body talking to you, telling you you ate something that is not fueling your body. You should have energy after a meal, not need to go lay down, okay? Brain fog, memory struggles. Friends, that is not menopause. It doesn't even have to be aging. You know, sometimes I will say I have mental pause. I can't get from point A to point B, and I'm sure it probably is a menopause symptom, but it doesn't have to be constant. It doesn't have to weigh you down. Okay, so brain fog and memory struggles are your body telling you, these are preemptively telling you, you could have neurodegenerative issues. You can fix it. You don't have to have Parkinson's, you don't have to have dementia, and you don't have to have Alzheimer's, all right? And so I forgot to say before I got started that I'm filming this on another camera in case Facebook shuts me down. So far I've gotten away unscathed for 2 days. Today, hopefully we have the same thing. So mood swings. Mood swings are not normal. A lot of that is chemicals in the food messing with your brain, and it messes with people differently. It's not gonna, the same chemical isn't gonna affect each person the same way. But mood swings is your body screaming, I need help. Diagnosis of any health issue clearly is breakdown in your cells. And we want to get on it sooner than later. But even saying that, I have many people that are with me. Nadine, as an example, she was on blood pressure medications for 50 years. They never saw her coming off blood pressure medications. She had been on them since she was 20 or 21 years old. And a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago now, she came off blood pressure medication. She's been eating with me a few years. So it takes, in that situation, it could take time, but friends, time's gonna go by regardless. Take better care of yourself and feel better. So aging is not a reason for our bodies to break down. And I've had people reach out to me and say, you know, why do you want to live forever? Why are you afraid to die? They're misinterpreting what I'm teaching. It's not that I want to live forever. I have always, my whole life, thought I'd live to be 100. I don't know why. I've always thought that. Maybe that's going to happen. I don't know. I always just thought I'd find when I was in my 20s, wasn't searching, but just had like this idea that I was going to find the fountain of youth. And I think I found it. So, you know, maybe that was just like, this is your mission. This is what you're supposed to do. Who knows? God's speaking to me then when I didn't listen to him as well as I listen to him today. And he still knows I'm a hardhead. So I tell him every day, scream at me, make it clear to me because, you know, I'm a hardhead. But aging is not the reason for us to struggle and fail. And going back to, you know, being afraid to age, not afraid to age, but here's the thing, I want to run really big and live well until Jesus takes me. I don't want to be in a hospital bed for 10 years like my mother was. 22 years she couldn't walk. I know many women in their 50s that struggle to get off the couch. I was there at 49. I don't want to be there. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be there, you know? So that's why I'm like so passionate about this, because I know we don't have to be there. So everything I just mentioned, signs your body's failing you, and I'm going to go over more of them. But these are caused by decades of eating the standard American diet or yo-yoing from fad diet to fad diet. And they can be reversed. So that's the good news. They can be reversed. So let's see, so early warning signs that indicate underlying health issues. And these are often subtle, subtle symptoms that point to something potentially more significant or something that will get worse. Okay, if you don't fix something, you don't answer your body's cry and stop poisoning it, because that's what we're doing with processed food. We're poisoning it. If you don't stop that when you already have tummy aches, you don't stop that when you already have headaches, you don't stop that when you already have your first diagnosis, it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse pretty quickly. What's the matter?
Nothing. I had this plugged in.
Oh. So headaches. Headaches could be dehydration, and dehydration really matters. Dehydration has to do with every organ in your body, every cell in your body. And we think that dehydration is about, well, I'm thirsty. It is about so much more than just being thirsty. Okay? So lots of things that headaches can do. Dehydration, let's see, often a simple cause of headaches, especially if accompanied by dry mouth and fatigue, but lots of things dehydration can do. And headaches can also be caused by tension or stress. We know that. We really want to work on eliminating stress. That's what the December holiday 10-week program, we're going to be focusing. I'm going to be teaching a different teaching every Saturday, and I'm going to touch on that because now I have the teachings all broken down. But we're every week going to do something about de-stressing, whether it's a teaching, a yoga, a meditation, a nutrition for de-stressing. So another thing about our body yelling at us, migraines. I've been hospitalized with migraines, so I know all about migraines, and that's why I taught yesterday. If you missed yesterday's teaching, you want to see it, because I showed and talked about how I drink ginger root in my water and why, and how it has changed my headaches. So you definitely want to see that. So high blood pressure can cause headaches. High blood pressure can go, I have that going away with people. So with Nadine, it took longer because she had been on the medication for so long, but the average person, I have to warn them when they come to work with me, because I have had people in a week have to call their doctor and get their blood pressure medication lowered because it's going so low that they're getting lightheaded and getting dizzy. So we don't have to have high blood pressure. Do not have to. Sinus infections and nutrient deficiencies. All of these things can cause headaches. So we need to be aware when we have a headache, our body is telling us something. Headaches are not normal, okay? So IBS symptoms, constipation or diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome. So chronic constipation, which is IBS-C, or diarrhea, IBS-D, could point to IBS, especially if accompanied by abdominal pain. If you are somebody that has a stomach ache weekly, your body is telling you something. It's talking to you. So oftentimes you can look back at maybe what you just ate, but it could be what you ate the day before or even the day before that. Because food can stay in a gut for a healthy gut, usually 2 to 4 days, an unhealthy gut up to 10 days. That's nasty. That's why you get disease. So IBS, our tummy aches are our body speaking to us, screaming at us. Lower back pain. Lower back pain could be kidney issues, could be muscle strain, which matters because it also helps how you stand, how you walk. Could be a herniated disc, could be arthritis, could be sciatica, but it's your body talking to you. Your back doesn't just kind of hurt for no reason, okay? Shortness of breath. Asthma, could be anxiety or panic attacks, anemia, heart issues, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, and pulmonary embolism. So all of those things could cause shortness of breath, something really serious to pay attention to. And all of these things can be optimized with nutrition. Hair loss can be nutrient deficiencies, can be thyroid problems, can be hormonal changes. Alopecia, which is an autoimmune condition, so we want to nip that before it happens, because if alopecia gets too bad, you're not going to grow your hair back. And medications and stress can also cause hair loss. So, but losing hair is your body telling you something. Unexplained weight loss. So that could be diabetes, that could be hypothyroidism, could be the C word, CAN, chronic infections, or celiac disease. All things that can be prevented, even the CAN word. So even in my teaching, I talk very candidly with clients, and I lost a brother to lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. We'll just say that and not say the CAN word, but almost 20 years ago. So I've experienced the loss. I've lost cousins. I've lost close friends. I don't believe there's ever going to be a cure because it's too profitable, but I know there's prevention. I teach in every organ of the body in my handheld lifetime program. I teach, and even that's programs even on the app now, but I teach about how to prevent that type of the CAN word for every organ with nutrition. We don't have to succumb to that. So frequent urination could be diabetes, could be urinary tract infection. And here I'm gonna throw a zinger at you guys. Do you wanna know what causes urinary tract infections? I talk to a lot of women that get them all the time and they stop getting them when they quit eating chicken. I only eat organic chicken, which I haven't been able to find. I probably could go to a ranch here and get them, but my husband hunts, so we eat, the bird that we mostly eat is pheasant and grouse and things like that. So I don't think I've eaten chicken in 2 years. They did a study, they went from both sides of the country, from east to west, to all kinds of grocery stores, like every brand name grocery store, and they took chicken and they tested it. 90% of it had organisms in it that cause infections in our gut. And so those infections end up, as we pass them, they sit in our body, and then something triggers the UTI. So if you're somebody that gets UTIs all the time, quit eating chicken and see what happens. It takes about 10 days to get that out of your body, and you will no longer get them. Start getting organic chicken only. And here's the problem with that. With FDA allowing companies to self-regulate, things can say they're organic and they don't even have to be. So prostate issues, so frequent urination can be prostate issues. We want to listen to that for sure. An enlarged prostate can press on the bladder and cause frequent urination, and we want to be aware of that. Men, so overactive bladder, and interstitial cystitis, which is a chronic condition that causes bladder pain and pressure leading to frequent urination. And all of these things can be prevented by food. Chronic fatigue, so it could be chronic fatigue syndrome, persistent unexplained fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. Well, that's what doctors will label it that, give you a medication, you'll lay around because you have chronic fatigue and you don't learn to eat to fix it. Can be fixed. Anemia, that one is tougher, but certainly we can fix that. Thyroid disorders, sleep apnea, depression or anxiety. They've known for over 3 decades that food is causing depression and anxiety, but yet they still write prescriptions. Why? It is extremely profitable. And even our kiddos now have depression and anxiety. It's why I want to do a summit about feeding our kids better. Kids shouldn't have anxiety. Kids shouldn't even be thinking about anything 5 minutes away from what's going on in front of them. And they have anxiety and they don't sleep good and they have depression. It is their food. Skin changes, rashes, dryness, or discoloration. And I know Carrie chimed in yesterday that she had psoriasis, and since working with me, it's gone. And I'm going to even give you Carrie as an example. So she has lipedema, which, if you're not familiar, and I hope I explain it well, right? So the fat cells hypertrophy, and if you look it up on the web, it says you cannot lose that fat. You cannot lose weight. She has lost over 60 pounds with me. She's lost, last I saw, over 33 inches with me. Her psoriasis is gone. So we don't have to have eczema and psoriasis. So this morning, actually, it was 2 a.m. My husband got up, so then I'm laying there and he turns the TV on for gray noise. And of course, commercials start coming on. And I see a commercial for a medication, and it something dawned on me. I'm gonna start keeping track of what I see and then writing up the natural remedies. Every drug commercial I've seen since yesterday and early this morning has natural remedies and prevention. But there's no profit in that for Big Pharma and our doctors. So skin changes could also be autoimmune disorders like lupus, and we, again, don't have to have that. Allergies. So let's even dive into allergies a little bit. So rashes or hives can result from food, medication, or environmental allergens. And so let's look back at medications because they're derived from what food does for us. So when we have breakdown in our gut, which medications cause, antibiotics cause, toxins cause, then we're not even going to process the medications as well. But also allergies are derived from missing gut microbiota. And what does that even, you're like, what does that even mean? So those trillions of Pac-Man I talked about, so we have trillions of them in our gut. There are different types with different names. And if a type of gut microbiota dies off, you will then have allergies to something, or you will have a result to something, right? So this is why, if you think back to when most people in watching this, I'm guessing are 40 to 80, that's really my clientele. We didn't have peanut allergies in school. Nobody was allergic to peanuts or peanut butter. And now you can't send peanuts or peanut butter to school with kids because there's always a handful of kids in class that are allergic because they're missing important gut microbes. And this will continue to get worse as they age. So other things that skin changes could be telling you, liver problems. So very serious, pay attention. And diabetes, dark patches of skin, particularly in body folds, can be a sign of insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. So pay attention to your skin. It is talking to you. Your skin is the largest organ in your body. We don't usually think of it as an organ, but we need to care for it like it's an organ. So additional symptoms to watch for. Frequent colds or infections can be a sign of a weakened immune system, for sure. That is exactly what it is. And we don't have to. I haven't had a cold in 7 years. We don't have to get sick. Does that mean I won't get a cold this winter? I don't know. But every day I fight to prevent and to stay well. And it's not even that hard. It's just my routine. It's just what I eat and what I would never consider putting in my body ever again. So additional symptoms, tingling or numbness in hands or feet. Could be peripheral neuropathy, often associated with diabetes and other deficiencies. And peripheral neuropathy, we can reverse that faster than we reverse diabetes, and we have people coming off diabetic medications in sometimes a week, 2 weeks. We have people coming off insulin injections in 3 weeks. It's our food. It's all it is. Blurred vision could be eye strain, dehydration, or diabetes, or neurological issues. So those are all, everything I just told you are ways that your body is screaming at you. So when people come to me and I ask them their health profile, it's what I do in a consultation. We sit on Zoom, we talk, I ask a lot of questions, and I'm writing it all down. I am hearing every way that your body is screaming at you. And then I can explain that to you and how we can help you. So that's what talking to me about it looks like. So, and the problem is everything I have just told you is going to create some kind of health issue, and it's going to look different for everybody. We all have a different fault line. meaning dysbiosis in our body, damage in our cells is going to create a different disease in different people. That's where genetics comes into play. For me, it was type 2 diabetes, IBS, pre-Hashimoto's. Those were things I dealt with, high cholesterol. I don't deal with them anymore, haven't in 8 years. So when I, 10 years ago, started healing myself, and then about pretty much in no time, I was showing, my blood sugar was better, but they still wanted to call me a diabetic, but my blood sugar, my numbers were really good. And a few years in, I was just considered pre-diabetic. I'm not even any longer considered pre-diabetic. That's the healing our body can do. We just have to know how to do it. That's what I teach. So now let's talk about food addiction. So this affects many of us on a deeply personal level, but isn't always discussed openly. And I am a gluttonous eater. My clients know it. I talk very openly about my own health. I don't sit on a pedestal and say, oh, I eat perfect, look at me. It is nothing like that. I share my struggles. I share my daily struggles. I was telling them a couple weeks ago that one day I had a lot going on, and 3 different times I went in the pantry and ate a spoonful of peanut butter in a day. Now I often will eat a spoonful of peanut butter. And I promise you, this girl does not eat a tiny little cutesy bite of peanut butter. I'm doing a glob of peanut butter, okay? And most of the time I will eat it on an apple. But I went into the pantry 3 different times and got a glob of peanut butter. And did it hurt me? No. But you know, you keep doing something like that every day. Peanut butter is probably one of the least healthy things I eat. And that's another story. But I struggle as well. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I almost actually put a sticky note on the jar of peanut butter saying, Marcy, stay the hell out of here, because I just was drawn to it that day. And it was stress, what was going on in my world. And walking to the refrigerator and opening it, going to the pantry and opening it, those are habits, and they can often be very emotional. And I help my clients through it. That is another thing missing in most programs. So food addiction can be derived from the chemicals in the food messing with your brain, or it can also be derived from other things, other emotional things that you need to deal with. So, and I help with all of that. So what is food addiction? So starting with the basics, food addiction is not just about liking food or occasionally overindulging. It's a compulsive relationship with certain foods, like I had that day with peanut butter. Typically those high in sugar, fat, and salt, that mirrors the patterns we see in drug addiction. People may experience cravings, feel unable to stop eating even when they're full, and may even experience withdrawal-like symptoms when they try to cut back. And I remember before I reversed my diabetes, if I needed to eat, I would bonk. And if you have a blood sugar issue, hypoglycemic, hyperglycemic, you know what bonking is. It does not feel good. Like you get hangry. Hangry isn't normal. Hangry is your body telling you something's off balance. I never get hangry. I often, Sunday afternoon to Monday afternoon, don't eat. I do a 24-hour fast, often. I don't get hangry anymore. That is your body screaming at you. Something doesn't work right in my body. Fix me. So, let's see. So with people may experience cravings, feel unable to stop eating even when they're full, and may even experience withdrawal-like symptoms when they try to cut back. And withdrawal-like symptoms are, some of that can be emotional attachment. We work on that. Some of that can be the chemicals put in the food by the scientists employed by the food companies. And we work on that without you even knowing it, because when you start eating my menus, you are no longer eating these chemicalized foods, and before you know it, you're not addicted to the food anymore, and we don't even have to talk about it. So So the role of additives in processed foods. We can't talk about food addiction without acknowledging how the food industry plays a role. Over the past few decades, our diets have become increasingly filled with highly processed foods, packed with artificial additives, sugars, unhealthy fats, and chemicals designed to enhance flavor and trigger cravings. And this is why we are seeing, so we're seeing cellular breakdown. We were seeing it more at 40s, 50s, 60s, depending on how healthfully people ate most of their life. Now we're seeing it in babies, children. You know, when babies are born with sclerotic arteries and toddlers have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and 10-year-olds are diabetic. That was unheard of. And that is our food industry. So this is why maybe grandpa, I've had people say, but my grandpa ate bacon every day, smoked cigarettes and drank beer and lived to be 96. Okay, but your grandpa ate a different bacon than we're eating today. And he also, my grandpa ate from a garden that he grew. Makes a difference. So the longer we've eaten healthier, the later we'll get sick. But if we succumb to processed foods, we're gonna get sick. So why additives make food so hard to resist? Sugar. Sugar is often at the top of the list when we talk about addictive foods. When you eat sugar, it stimulates the release of dopamine, the same feel-good neurotransmitter that is released during drug use. This triggers the brain's reward center, making us feel good, but it also creates a craving for more. Over time, the more sugar we consume, the more we need to achieve the same level of satisfaction, similar to how tolerance builds in substance addiction. And so then I've had people say, I've seen what you eat and you eat so much fruit, that's a lot of sugar. That's sugar our bodies recognize. Entirely different. So if you're following one of these programs like keto or carnivore and you can't eat fruit or you can't eat as much of it that you need, what's in the fruit, polyphenols, flavonoids, all kinds of different things. That's another talk. But if you're not getting those to fight the oxidative stress, I talked about oxidative stress yesterday, how the patina, how it's beautiful on copper, not beautiful in our cells. If you can't fight the oxidative stress because you're not getting all the nutrients from fruit and vegetables, you're going to get disease. Our body knows how to balance and utilize natural sugar. God designed it. God designed us. Works really well together. So fat and salt. Foods high in fat and salt also activate reward centers in the brain. These foods are energy dense, and from an evolutionary perspective, they would have been prized when food was scarce. In today's world, where these high-calorie foods are cheap and abundant, we're hardwired to seek them out, and the food industry knows this. They deliberately design foods that are the perfect mix of fat, sugar, and salt to keep us coming back for more. And yes, fats are good. We need fats, but we need the right fats, and dairy is not the right fats. Dairy isn't even where we get calcium from. I'm going to teach on that in the 10-week program. We've been lied to about dairy our whole lives. And so just let me throw this out there. When you're having a baby, you produce milk for that baby. That is why a cow produces milk, for its offspring. It was never meant for us. We don't need dairy. Our children don't need dairy. And we are addicted to it, and it is done by everything they put in it. And we suffer for it. So, and then even salt. Salt gets a bad rap, and there are types of salt that are really good for us. And I'm convinced there are so many thyroid conditions because people are robbed of good salt because we've been lied to about salt. The worst kind of salt to eat is that little blue. I had that round container growing up in my house. My mother always had that big container in the cabinet, and that iodized salt, poison, terrible for us. So, and I'll come back and I see people saying things, I'm sorry, so. Aw, Vicki, thank you. Just wanted to tell you, you hit it out of the park yesterday as well. I love your teachings, thank you. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that very much. That's nice. I love what I do. So additives and preservatives. Food manufacturers add artificial flavors, preservatives, and colorings to enhance the appearance. We're very visual. That's why even the packages matter. And so the appearance and the taste of food, making them more appealing. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, for example, is a common additive that enhances savory flavors and can make processed foods irresistible. These additives can cause cravings that feel beyond our control, leading to compulsive eating patterns. So let's even talk about cravings beyond your control. I've talked to many people that want to work with me and they tell me, Marcy, I can't give up food. That is in our head and that is created by the food industry. I promise you, if you give me 28 days, 3 days you're going to be starting to get over it. But 28 days, you are going to feel like a new person. You're going to have more energy. You're going to have lost some weight. You're possibly going to have some diagnosis reversed. And you are not going to be able to relate to the person that couldn't give up that food. That's what happens that quickly when we get those chemicals out of our body. It only takes a few days to get those chemicals out of our body. But we are so attached to them and we feel like, so think about the things you don't even have to put on your grocery list because you are never going to forget them at the grocery store. You're addicted to them. They are designed to do that to you. It's all a plan. So we get addicted to them, they cause disease, and then Big Pharma wins. And if you don't believe yet that Big Pharma and Big Food are in cahoots, you haven't been paying attention because they are, and they have been for a long time. It really goes back to the 70s when Philip Morris, the cigarette manufacturer, bought up most of the food companies, most of the processed food companies. So the vicious cycle of processed foods, the more you consume processed foods, the more your brain craves them. This is because ultra-processed foods hijack the brain's natural satiety mechanisms, leaving you feeling unsatisfied no matter how much you eat. Your body keeps asking for more food, hoping to get the nutrients it needs, but instead it gets empty calories. This creates a vicious cycle where overeating becomes the norm and breaking free feels nearly impossible. And so let's even go back to, let's see, because I had a squirrel. The more you consume foods, it's because the ultra-processed foods hijacking your brain's natural satiety mechanisms, leaving you feeling unsatisfied. If you even have thoughts that you're unsatisfied in your life, it does that as well. It's not just leaving you unsatisfied with your gut and with your hunger. These foods leave you unsatisfied in your whole world. That's pretty nasty. That's pretty sad. So that's when you see me get angry or make angry posts about food, I'm not angry at the people struggling. I'm angry you're lied to. That's my passion. I'm so angry that we have been lied to, manipulated, all in the name of money. And I go back a couple years when I first started teaching my lifetime program, and I had some women in the first group, and they just couldn't comprehend that this could be manufactured and planned. And it's not planned like, like that, right? It's planned like, okay, let's do this. And then it's just happened over time. It's evolved over time. That we've been guinea pigs for 188 years. I actually even teach on that. And they've manipulated us for 188 years. So they don't even have to plan it and map it out anymore. But here's what made sense to these women that couldn't understand it. These people are billionaires. We can't relate. We can't relate to what they will do for money. And I believe if I was offered $1 billion, I would not change my teaching. I believe that I would not. I've never been offered $1 billion, but I believe I would not change my lane. believe I would still speak the truth. I think what I would probably do is come live and tell everybody who offered me that. That's what I would probably do. So, but I actually listened to a psychologist that interviewed some scientists from Big Pharma, and he said that they don't even look at us as human, the average person. They look at us like we're ants on the sidewalk, and they would treat us no different. They would squash us in the name of the profits for their drug. And that's what they're doing to us. They are doing it. So now let's talk about, with food addiction, our human nature and evolutionary drive. So let's not forget that part of this issue is rooted in our human nature. Our ancestors were hunters and gatherers who had to work hard to find food. Back then, high-calorie foods like fat and sugar were rare, and when they were available, it was in our best interest to eat as much as possible. So that's normal for the human body to want to do that, and scientists have played on that. They've preyed on it, okay? So our bodies are designed to crave energy-dense foods because those calories were necessary for survival. So today, food is everywhere. We don't have to hunt or gather. We just need to go to the grocery store or order online or order on our phone. And somebody drives up and brings us some food. So, however, our biology hasn't caught up with this shift. And this is proof that evolution is not real. We did not evolve, okay? We've evolved maybe mentally in some ways, obviously, educationally. Our human body has not evolved. If it did, we wouldn't be getting sick from these things. So we are still hardwired to crave the very foods that led to overeating and addiction when they're overly abundant. It's human nature to seek pleasure and comfort, especially when it comes in the form of food. And the brain rewards us for eating the very foods that in excess harm our health. And I am so guilty of all these things. I'm somebody that I get good news. Oh, let's go eat and celebrate. Bad news. Oh, I don't want to cook. Let's go eat. Can you guys relate? I get it. Emotional eating. For many, food is a way to cope with emotions. When you're stressed, anxious, sad, or even bored, food offers a temporary relief. And even for me, I work at home, right? So I don't go out to eat as often anymore, a couple times a week. But when we lived in Colorado, we would go to dinner almost every night because it was the only time I left my house. I had to get out of the house. I worked all day at home. And so my only out was going to eat. What changed that? So I can't say the COV word because the bots could shut this video down, but during COV, when everything was shut down and I didn't leave my house as much, that really changed how I do things. Then I was like, yeah, I don't even need to do that anymore. That's not really healthy either. I do need to get out and see people more, but I have shifted how often I go eat. But I love that pleasure. I like to get out and consume something different. And I know how to use a menu healthfully, so it doesn't hurt me to do that. That's another thing I teach on, is using a menu. So, emotional eating. For many, food is a way to cope with emotions. When you're stressed, anxious, sad, or even bored, food offers temporary relief. The brain learns to associate certain foods over often unhealthy processed foods with positive emotions or numbing negative feelings. Over time, this emotional reliance becomes a habit, and it can feel impossible to break. So that is, when I talk to people about my program, I talk about helping you with your emotional toolbox, and everybody's emotional toolbox is different. That is something different that I bring to the table that other programs don't do. That's why my lifetime handheld program is worth it, because that's one of the reasons, because I am going to walk you through, help you through everything that you need. And no other program does this. No nutritionist does this. Okay, look at the fact that most nutritionists, you're going to pay $120 an hour to see a nutritionist, and you're going to have to get on their calendar, and you're going to have to wait to see them. My lifetime clients text me all day, and I respond because they're in my phone and they get my priority. So lots of things I do different that help my clients succeed. So emotional eating for many, let's see, I just said that. So the habit loop. And before I even go into this, I talk about this in my teaching is habits start very young. Our habits start when, so even if what we might remember, be able to remember back to is how far we can go back to when we're in school. So we get up in the morning and our parents give us breakfast before we can start making our own breakfast before school. So we are told this is the time you eat. And then at school we're told this is the time you eat. You get home from school, you have a snack, and then you eat when mom or dad makes dinner. And again, that's usually a set time. And here's the thing, the body should only really eat when it's hungry. But these habits form because we habitually eat. Oh, it's noon, I gotta eat. You need to stop and think, are you hungry? Because if you're not, you don't need to eat. And you're not gonna die if you wait till dinner. And I work with people that I have to get over that. They think that they can't miss a meal. And it's a habit. And it's created from the time we can remember. So the habit loop. Food addiction can also be tied to routines and social settings. We often eat out of habit, not hunger. You might associate snacking with watching TV or desserts with celebrations. These routines form habit loops where a specific trigger like watching TV leads to a behavior, snacking, and then a reward, the temporary pleasure of the food. Once this cycle is established, it becomes harder to break as your brain expects the reward and urges you to repeat the behavior. And so I talk about, rewarding yourself with other things. You maybe reach a goal, drop a few pounds, reward yourself with a book. Reward yourself with something besides a dinner out. Besides fast food, besides, and I have clients that do this. So in my coaching, I don't come down on people, I educate people. And I have clients that they will get to the point, they've dropped 15 pounds, and then their reward center kicks in, and they reward with a donut or something that they're not supposed to have. And I said donut because Daryl just popped in. So that's why I said donut, Daryl, just for you. But lots of different things. I have clients that are addicted to different things and they will reward with different things. And so that's what we have to get past is rewarding with food. And rewarding is great. I'm all for it. I love new things. And for a while, when I started running, I was rewarding with running shoes as my miles progressed. And that fed the dopamine and fed the serotonin and kept me happy without going and eating something I shouldn't have eaten, right? So it really does even matter. And even so like I just said, TV or while we eat desserts or let's see, let me just reread this. We often eat out of habit, not hunger. You might associate snacking with watching TV or desserts with celebrations. And I was teaching in my program the week before my birthday, and one of my clients said, well, what dessert are you gonna have for your birthday? I hadn't thought about it, and I didn't have dessert on my birthday. Could you? Yes, we have healthy desserts. You could have dessert on your birthday. That's not where Marcy's brain goes anymore, and you can get there. So how food addiction can control us, and it really does, and you might be sitting there totally relating to this. Over time, the combination of addictive food ingredients, biological drives, and emotional habits creates a state where food addiction can start to control us. So this is triple-fold, friends. This is why it's difficult, and this is why it's such a big part of my program. So you might find yourself eating when you're not hungry, craving foods that you know are bad for you, or feeling guilty after overeating, yet still unable to stop the cycle. The more this pattern is reinforced, the stronger those cravings and compulsions become. And I can relate to every one of those things. Craving foods that I knew were bad for me, eating when I wasn't hungry. I still will do that. I have to watch it. I just will eat the right things. They're not going to make me sick, but I don't need to be gluttonous or feeling guilty after overeating. I've been there. I get it. And that is why I teach the way I teach. I educate you and I help you. I don't come down on you. So you get an education with me and you get to make decisions like big boys and girls. That's what I often say. And then when you come to me and say, Marcy, last night I went out to dinner and I ate this, this, and this, and today I feel like crap, you'll often hear me say, well, there's your sign. That was your body telling you, you ate great for how long? And your body will tell you and respond to when you eat poorly. And that's your reminder not to do it again. And you know what? I still do that on occasion. On occasion, I mean once a year maybe. Maybe once a year, I will want something that I should not eat. Usually it's Taco Bell. And the next day, my body is telling me, what the hell did you do that for, girl? I do it too. So breaking free, how to overcome food addiction. So overcoming food addiction is not easy, but it's absolutely possible. The first step is awareness, understanding how additives, human nature, and habits play into your relationship with food. And that is really what I help you work on. And so a balanced approach to food and health. Food addiction is not just about lack of willpower. So if you've ever thought it's your fault, lack of willpower, you don't have the tools by yourself to fix this. You need somebody to help you, whether you're holding their hand or you're following a specific program. If you've struggled over and over, you need the help. And there's nothing wrong with needing the help at all. So it's a very complex issue influenced by the food industry, heavily influenced by the food industry, our biology, which the food industry plays into, and our habits, which the food industry plays into. So understanding these factors can help you take back control of your relationship with food. And so that is really what I help you do. And let me get back to my Facebook screen, see if I can see any questions or, where is it? There we go. Nope, nobody else has said anything. Let's see. Nadine said, I'm so glad I stick with the program. Leukemia in remission for 3 years and off blood pressure meds for 2 years now. Okay, so I was wrong. I thought it was a year and a half. She's still on thyroid meds, but off all over-the-counter pain meds and more. And she's been eating clean with me for 5 years. So she helped me get those numbers right. I'm not always good with that if I don't have it right in front of me. And still being on thyroid meds, thyroid is a tricky one. Thyroid is not something we can always get you away from, but we do see people with lowered meds. And I do have a couple people that had Hashimoto's, and Hashimoto's is often misdiagnosed. So I don't even know, did they have Hashimoto's that we reversed, or were they misdiagnosed? So Vicky says, I have a question. I notice you now drink soy milk. I heard that soy isn't good for you. And so I drink all kinds of milk. I drink almond milk. I drink soy milk. So when you hear somebody tell you soy isn't good for you, they are about 20 years behind in their education. So they used to believe that soy, because it affects our estrogen receptors, okay? So it has a plant estrogen, a phytoestrogen, PHYTO. And they used to think that it caused man boobs and caused the CAN word and caused hormonal disruption. But they have discovered that our body, designed by God and wiser than we realize, has 2 different estrogen receptors. So our bodies recognize our estrogen hormones and plant estrogens. And so plant estrogens actually fight everything they thought they used to cause. So soy milk, unsweetened soy milk, is actually very, very good for us. Yeah, it is a surefire sign that the person you're listening to, if they think soy is bad, they are not keeping up to date on what's new. And that's why I study 10 to 20 hours a week, because you have to. And I still don't know everything, but I can research it when I'm asked. It's another perk that my clients have. And so, you know, I want to touch on, I've got some specials that I'm offering in my programs. If you saw the pyramid that I posted, there's a little, like a little thing that I put in the group talking about, we've got a fitness app. And when we started the fitness app, there was no plan to put my nutrition program on the app. I hadn't yet figured out how to do it, right? So we still have my handheld program, which I'm offering $200 off the handheld program during this week while I'm teaching this summit. So, but you have to talk to me about that. You have to interview with me. I have to make sure you're a candidate, and I have to make sure you're ready. And that program is very intensive, and you are a lifetime member with me. And it is much more affordable than most people realize. And another thing Tim and I have done, we are offering financing ourselves now as well. So there are some options in financing for it as well. I have a handheld one-on-one coaching program that I'm giving $900 off on. I only take 3 clients at a time in that. I only work with about 10 clients a year in that program. Who is that for? You again interview with me, and most of the time I'm going to tell you the other program is good enough for you. That is a great program. The really advanced one-on-one program is more for people like business women. It is life coaching. I'm going to help you with your business. I'm going to help you with your world. Okay, so that's what that is, and why I only work with a few people. But we finally figured out how to put our nutrition on our app. It's been on our app for a couple months now. And this makes it so that you can, in an affordable way, have me as your mentor. So you get talks every week, you get a week's worth of recipes every month, and you get walked through how to utilize them. And so we offer that for $49. The cool thing about that is, if you are somebody that wants to save to get into the lifetime program, we let you credit that $49 that you amass every month being in the program. We let you credit that to being in the lifetime program. So say you are on the app for 10 months and then Marcy, I need your help. I want more. I want everything you teach. Then we can credit you that money. So, but here's a special I'm running. We also offer a coach with the nutrition app. The nutrition app does not give you my handheld help. Okay, you don't have access to me other than if you're struggling with how the app itself works. So what did we implement? We put coaches out there. We have coaches that have worked with me for years, and normally we sell that for $99. During this program, you can get the nutrition program with an app, or with a coach, on the app for $79 a month. So you're saving $20 a month and getting a coach. And so you'll have a Facebook group with your coach. They'll be able to answer questions for you and be able to motivate you and help you in that manner. So that is a special that I'm running. We have the holiday program. That is a 10-week program for $97. That is a screaming steal. That program is worth $1,200. I broke it down. Everything I'm offering in that program, it is worth $1,200. And I'm doing it for $97. And why am I doing that? To help you through the holidays. I love to help people. I really, really do. And I believe that is everything. So you can get on my my schedule if you would like to talk to me. Talking to me costs nothing, and we can talk about how I can help you. Hi, Maria. And if I don't think you're ready, I tell you. So to start at ground zero and to start eating right first, So that depends on, if you can afford my handheld program, it is the best program. The app really is a budget-friendly way to do it. That's what the app does. But the difference is you're paying monthly for the app. You can credit that towards the handheld as it amasses, but you don't have access to me for help. When you come to the lifetime program, you have access to me like nothing you've ever seen. I have clients that actually they've joined the program and don't do anything for a year and then say, Marcy, I'm ready to start. And I start working with them. And so I've had people say, well, if the lifetime program's so good, why is it lifetime? It's just a perk, but also people learn at different times. It takes people different times to connect all the dots, even if they listen to the teaching over and over and over. And you will see a lot of the people that are here, even listening to the talk, that are in my lifetime program, they also never miss a teaching that I do, because it's almost like group therapy, and we have built a tribe of support. And so your budget is really the factor. We've tried to make it more budget friendly as best we can, but your budget is the factor. So I hope that answers your question. So please reach out to me. I'm pretty excited about this holiday program. I've got a great lineup. So let me even tell you what we're going to teach in that. So every Saturday I'm gonna be live. And the first week we're gonna talk about aging backwards, how I'm 60 with a metabolic age of 55 and a biological age of under 40. I'm gonna talk about that and how that happened. And the next week, we're gonna talk about transforming your thinking. So the ideals and opinions of yourselves. We're terribly mean to ourselves. And in doing this, we self-sabotage. We often do it with food. So then the next week, which is the Saturday before Thanksgiving, so plan this on purpose. We are gonna talk about mindful eating over the holidays. I don't expect anybody to miss a great holiday meal, but you could be more mindful. Then the next week, we're gonna talk about stress relieving foods and herbs. You're gonna get a list of those and we're gonna discuss those. So then the next week, improving sleep with nutrition, because food is the reason you're not sleeping well. Bone health and calcium lies, that's the next week. Gut health and its impact is the next week. The importance of whole foods is week 8. Week 9 is exercise and aging, and I don't have week 10 planned yet, and I'm kind of leaving that open, thinking I'm gonna let the group, from group consensus, what do you want me to teach on week 10? That's kind of what's gonna happen there. So that is the lineup of the holidays, and my suggestion is you invest in your health, because there's nothing more important than your health and your family's health. And even with my lifetime program, your whole family and your household uses it. It's not a one-person program. It is for your household. I don't charge per person in your household. If your spouse needs it, if you still have children at home, it is for your household to utilize. So that's also a perk. So I'm not gonna hold you here any longer today. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. If you took a lot away from these talks, maybe give me the fire or a thumbs up or something. And if you are somebody that is already in my program, my lifetime program, give me a heart. I just want to go through and see, what's going on here with who's watching the talks. And asking me questions helps me better the programs for the future, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate you being here. Time is valuable. Everybody's time is valuable, so thank you for taking time out of your day and being here. And I hope to talk to you soon. Many of you I know I will. The rest of you, if you're not in my tribe yet, I hope that I do talk to you soon. So have a great day, be blessed, and love you guys. Take care.